Namaste, dear friends. Good afternoon, my dear friends. First of all, I apologize. Sorry for the changing my timetable of live lecture. As today I have got one work for the charity work. That's it, compulsory for me to go. That's why I have rescheduled my live lecture schedule today. Apologize. I'm sorry for that. So let's students, dear students, will start today a new lecture with for standard 7th subject English. And before starting the lecture, let me thanks all dear parents, those who are taking interest in the live lecture for the students, and too I am thankful to the dear students, those who are always ready at whatever the time I am giving. In spite of changing my live schedule, still many are there in the live chat. Thanks for that. And dear students, you are knowing, as whatever doubt you are having, you can ask me in the live chat. And dear parents, એક નોંધ લેજો કે તમારું બાળક જ્યારે તમારી પાસે બેઠો છે મોબાઈલ લઈને, તો પ્લીઝ અનનેસેસરલી એ લોકો લાઈવ ચેટ યુઝ ના કરે, એનું ખાસ ધ્યાન રાખવું. ડાઉટ હોય ત્યારે યુઝ કરે. મોસ્ટ વેલકમ. શું કામ કે પછી ધ્યાન લાઈવ ચેટમાં જાય છે એટલા માટે. So we'll start today the lecture for subject English. It's for standard 7. So are you ready now? So the first lecture for today of subject English, that's of standard 7, chapter number 1, that's 3 questions. This chapter is very interesting story. This story is written by Leo Tolstoy, and it's very interesting story. You will enjoy the story a lot. So 3 questions. By the heading only, the name is very good, 3 questions. From that you may getting the idea. Something is there related to 3 questions. In this chapter there are 3 main questions. On the basis of these 3 questions, the full story is being finished, right? So getting finished in these 3 questions only. We will see in the story which are the 3 important questions for the king. The characters are the king, the courtiers, the councillors, and one hermit, the saint, we can say. These all are the characters in the story. So let's begin the story. 1, on your screen, a king once thought that he would never fail if he knew 3 things. Once the king thought that he would never fail if he knew 3 things. First, what is the right time was to begin something. Second, which people he should take advice from. Third, how to decide what is the most important thing to do was. So king was having a doubt. He thought that if I having the answer of these 3 questions, then the king thought that he would never fail in his life. The first question is that what is the right time to begin something. Second is that which people he should take advice from. King koni paase advice le. Third is that how to decide what is the most important thing to do was. So in this way he was thinking about these 3 questions. Just then he sent messengers, right? The messengers, the king sent some of the messengers throughout the kingdom. He sent some messengers throughout his kingdom. He promised to give a reward of a large sum to the person who answered his 3 questions. So he sent messengers throughout his kingdom. He promised to give a reward of a large sum to the people who answered his 3 questions. So king told that whoever will be giving me the answers to these 3 questions, I will be giving them a reward. A reward will be given if you are giving me the right answers of 3 questions. So in this way, the messengers went to the kingdom for giving the message of the king. many of them, now they came to the kingdom. Many of them, they came to the king court to give the answer. Now what's happening next? Now we'll see then. Many wise men tried their luck. It means many of the people came to the court and they tried their luck. They gave a number of answers. Many of them tried and they gave the different answers. Some said that king should go by a timetable. It means king should follow the timetable. Others said that king should do whatever seemed to be him necessary at the moment. Yeah, he told that. Somebody said that the king should do the thing what is necessary at that moment. Yet others suggested that the king should consult wise men or magician. Some of them told that king should consult the wise men or they can consult the magician. So the first what the right time was to begin something. The different opinion were there for the first question. Similarly, now they thought all the people who were there in the court, the wise men je log આવ્યા હતા, they are giving the suggestion now for the second now. Answering the second question. What was the second question? Second question was that which people he should take advice from. Which people he should take advice from. એનો આન્સર શું આપે છે બધા? Answering the second question, some gave top importance to his counselor. They told that he should give importance to his counselor. Now what's the meaning of counselor? You should be clear with that also. Counselor means the members of the council. Meaning will be there near in the red color. Counselor means members of the council. And others to priest. કોઈ એમ કીધું કે you should go to the priest, and yet other to the doctors or to the soldiers. Some said that, right, replying to the answer to the second question. So કીધું counselor પાસે જાઓ, you can go to priest. Some said you can go to doctors. Some said you can go to soldiers. It is very good for that. And now for the third one, in the reply to the third question, what was the third question? How to decide what the moment important thing to do was. The third reply they gave, in reply to the third question, the wise man gave importance to science or fighting or religious worship. Right? The third question શું હતો? The most important thing to do was. શું most important thing છે king માટે? They told that wise man gave importance science માટે. Somebody told fighting. Somebody told that religious worship. So people gave, the wise man gave different answers to their different question. As the man changes, the opinion also changed. So they were giving their opinion in the way to the king. Now what happened then? The king, as he was getting the different answers from all the people, they were giving different answers. So king was not satisfied. King was not satisfied with the answer which were given by the wise man. So he went to a hermit. He went to a hermit who lived in a wood alone. So the king was not satisfied. He went to a hermit who lived in a wood alone. My dear students, hermit meaning that's given there. Hermit in the black color towards the left side. A person who lives alone and leads a simple life. A person who lives alone and leads a simple life. You can say saint also, right? Who lived in a wood alone. Wood means a small forest. Wood means a small forest. There he saw the old and weak hermit digging the ground. So king went to this hermit who was digging the ground. The king asked his question but got no answer. King asked the question to this hermit, but hermit didn't give any reply. The king asked his question but got no answer. Then he took the spade from the hermit. The king took the spade from the hermit. Hermit પાસેથી spade લઈ લીધું. He took the spade. Spade એટલે કે પાવડો છે ખોદવા માટે. Spade from the hermit and began to work in his place. Now king started working. He took the spade from the saint, the hermit, and he started working. Several hours passed. So what happened now? The king went to the hermit. When king went to the hermit for asking different questions, he wanted the answer from the hermit. At that time this hermit was digging with the help of spade but as he didn't get any reply, so the king took the spade from the hermit. He took the spade from the hermit, and he started working. Now it was now evening time. It was now late evening. The king went alone without any soldiers. Okay, એની જોડે કોઈ ગયું નહોતું. He went alone only in the forest to ask the hermit. It was evening, so the king stopped digging the beds. Now it was late evening. So even the king stopped digging the beds. The beds meaning is given there sidewise. You can read it. Beds, small patches of ground for plants. Small patches of ground for plants. આપણે કહે ને, if you want to plant a tree, first of all we dig the ground, right? આપણે નાના ખાડો હોય, pit. So beds, small patches of ground for plants. The king was ready to take leave from the hermit. The king was ready to leave the hermit because he was not getting answer from the hermit also. Just then the hermit told that someone was running towards them. At that time, as he was going to leave, at that time the hermit told that, my dear king, see, somebody is coming, somebody is running and coming towards us. Somebody is running and somebody is coming towards us. So at that time he stopped there. So he didn't go to the palace. He stopped there because somebody was coming towards them. Now who was that now then? The king saw a bearded man. King saw a bearded man running towards them. Beard means dadi wala, right? His hands were pressed against his stomach. એટલે stomach ઉપર હાથ રાખીને pressed against his stomach, from which blood was coming out. As he reached the king, he fainted. Fainted meaning is there, given the meaning there, it means lost consciousness, એટલે કે બેભાન થઈ ગયો, પડી ગયો, right? As he reached the king, he fainted and fell to the ground. He had a large wound in his stomach. There was a wound, lagel ija hati, right? There was a wound in his stomach. So they saw somebody was coming, and that was a bearded man who was having his hand on his stomach, because from the stomach blood was coming. As he was injured, wound was there. The king, now what happened then? The king washed the wound and compressed it. So king washed the wound. Okay, the king washed the wound and compressed it. Redressed once, twice, thrice he dressed it with his handkerchief. At last the bleeding stopped. The man felt better and asked for water to drink. Now man felt better and he asked for some water to drink. The man told, please give me some water, I want to drink some water. The king gave him fresh water. So the bearded man, the king dressed the wound thrice with handkerchief, bleeding stopped, and that man asked some water to drink, and the king gave him some fresh water to drink. The sun, it was the evening time when the king was going to leave from the hermit's place. The sun had set by then. The king and the hermit carried the wounded man into the hut and laid him on the bed. They kept that wounded man into the on the bed into the hut, and they kept them laid him એની ઉપર રાખી the bed ઉપર. They tried. The tired king also fell asleep. Who? The tired king. The king was tired because he was doing the work. He was digging, right? The tired king also fell asleep. When he awoke, the bearded man asked to forgive him. When early in the morning, when they woke up, at that time, the bearded man asked to forgive him. Please forgive the king. At that time, king was very much surprised. Why this fellow is saying to forgive me? Why? What's the reason for that? The man was in fact the king's enemy. Listen, what's an interesting story it is. The man in fact was the king's enemy. The wounded man was the king's enemy. he had followed the king to take the revenge on him. He want to take revenge, badla. उसको बदला लेना था. He had followed the king to take revenge on him. He had vowed to kill him. Vowed means to take we say pratigna levi, right? He had vowed to kill him. The king had once put his brother to death and seized his property. The king had once put his brother to death. Why he want to take revenge? Because king had put his brother to death and seized his property. Seized means to took by force. Seized, japt kar lidu, to took by force. King took all the property and sent his brother to death. The man hid himself in a bush on the way to the jungle. That's why. What he is saying now, the story. The man hid Santaigu himself in a bush on the way to the jungle. So the man was hiding in a bush on the way to the jungle because he was having the idea that king was alone and he will be going back to the palace alone only. So now he came out of his hiding place when the king did not return for long. Right? He came out of his hiding place. The man, the wounded man who was hiding, from there he came out because the king didn't pass from there for a long time. He got wounded by the king's bodyguard. King's bodyguard identified this man that this is the enemy of our king. So they wounded him. He would have died if the king had not dressed his wound. He would have died if the king had not dressed his wound. He felt grateful. Grateful means thankful. He felt thankful to the king who had saved his life. So he was very much grateful, thankful to the king who had saved his life. He promised to serve the king as a faithful servant. Faithful meaning is given there. Faithful means loyal and true. Loyal and true. So he told the king, if I have survived, if I get well from this, then surely I want to serve you. I will be your faithful servant. So see, it's an interesting story, right? An enemy slowly becoming the friend. In this way, now what's the response of the king? How the king is giving the response now? The king was happy that he had made peace with his enemy. The king was very happy because he had made peace with his enemy. He forgave the man and promised to give back his property. See what a just king, right? King he forgave the man and even promised to give back his property. The king then went to the hermit. Now the king went again back to the hermit because he again asked for the answer to his question, because he came for one purpose. He wanted the reply from the hermit of those questions. He again asked for the answers to his question. So the king is again going to the hermit and repeating all the questions. Please give me the answer, dear hermit. I want answer from your part. Now what the hermit is giving the reply now? The hermit explained by digging the bed for him. So the hermit explained that by digging the beds for him. He was digging the beds. The king had escaped the attack. What saying? The hermit is giving the reply. You stayed here for digging the beds for him. Hermit is saying, તમે મારા માટે અહીં રોકાઈ ગયા ને beds એટલે કે ખાડા ખોદવા માટે. The king had escaped the attack. That's why you have been saved. If you might have left the place, hermit's place, on the way, surely this wounded man may have attacked. So the most important time was when he was digging the bed. That is the most important time. Kayo most important time હતો? When he was digging the beds. The hermit was the important person. Who was the important person? The hermit himself was the important person for him. So to do him good was the king's most important business. So see, in this paragraph, the king is getting the answers of 3 questions. The hermit, once again I am repeating, the hermit explained that by digging the beds for him, the king had escaped attack. So the most important time was when he was digging the beds. The hermit himself was the most important person. So to do him good was the king's most important business. The hermit further, again now, he is giving more reply. The hermit further told the king that most important person for him was the person with him at that particular moment. The hermit further told the king that શું કહે છે the most important person કોણ છે for king was the person with him at that particular moment. The most important business was to help that person. King no business એટલે કે work શું હતું most important to help that person, and the most important time was now, that is the present moment. See my dear students, the hermit indirectly gave the answers of all these three questions. કયા three questions હતા? What the right time was to begin something, what the right time to begin something. બીજો question એનો શું હતો? Which people should he take advice from? Third question શું હતો? What was the most important thing to do? So indirectly he got all the answers from here, from this paragraph, right? And my dear students, this was the chapter number 1. That's 3 questions written by Leo Tolstoy. So dear students, this is just a summary, okay? Textbook nu whatever is given in the textbook, it's not the line to line, not complete structure of the textbook. Okay, આખું જે લાઈન આપેલું છે બધું નથી. Just this is a summary of the story so that you can easily get the idea of the story. Easily તમે વાંચશો and you can easily understand the story, કે what is the story, કે આ ચેપ્ટરમાં શું છે. In the next lecture surely I will be giving some questions so that you can find the answers by yourself, try it by yourself. Is that clear dear students? Understood? So textbook નું તમે એકવાર વાંચી લેવાનું. The textbook PDF is there, which is available in the website of our school. That's www.stmarysgondal.com. So these things are given in this site. You can find the textbook, you can read now the textbook, and this lecture was just a summary. So summary, just a summary of English standard 7 chapter number 1, 3 questions. Is that clear dear students? Now please inform your friends also about these live lectures, and always keep one thing in mind: share the knowledge with others. Okay, bye bye.